Former head coach for the Nigerian Super Eagles, Gernot Rhor, um, purposely sabotaged and held back, the squad. Gernot Rhor purposely held back and sabotaged the Nigerian Super Eagles. And I have a whole lot of proof. And it all begins in the friendly matches prior to the 2018 World Cup. There were like six friendly matches right before the 2018 World Cup. And I watched like all of those matches, and all those matches, there was like six matches before the 2018 World Cup that the Super Eagles played to prepare themselves for the actual World Cup. And our goalkeeper, Gernot Rhor, brought a new goalkeeper for those friendly matches right before the World Cup. And that goalkeeper's name is Francis Uzohu. For all those six games before the World Cup, Gernot Rhor started Francis Uzohu, and Francis Uzohu played horribly as goalie those six games, friendly matches prior to the World Cup. Francis Uzohu played horribly. He was conceding easy goals every fucking game. Even though it was evident that Francis Uzohu was conceding easy ass goals every fucking game in those friendly matches, Gernot Rhor refused to even try out another goalie even once. Back-to-back games in those six friendly matches, Uzohu was playing horribly as goalie, conceding easy goals every fucking game. And Gernot Rhor didn't even think to try out another goalie, where right before the World Cup, goalies playing horrible. You have other goalies in the bench who have experience, and you're not gonna even let another goalie in to test him out to see if you will play better than garbage ass Uzohu. I mean, Francis Uzohu, he's improved since then, but back in those 2018 friendly matches, right before the World Cup, he was playing horribly. And we had Izenwa, Izenwa, he was one of our other goalies, you know. He had experience with the Super Eagles, you know. He had more experience with the Super Eagles than Francis Uzohu. Francis Uzohu was just a new addition to the team. Izenwa was already with our squad and had played several games with our squad already, and it was so obvious night and day that Izenwa is a better goalie than fucking Uzohu. But each game, back to back to back, Uzohu was having horrible games, but Gernot Rhor refused to switch him out at goalie, you know. And goalie, and it was so obvious that Izenwa is better than fucking Francis Uzohu, but in goalie is one of your most important positions in the game of football and soccer. You know, if your goalie sucks, then you're most likely gonna lose. The goalie protects you from the other team scoring. So if your goalie it sucks, it's conceding every little easy ass goal. I mean, your team is most likely not gonna do well in the World Cup. So like, why was Roar not trying out any other goalie? For those 6 games straight, Uzohu was playing fucking horribly, where Gernot Rhor refused to test any other goalie out. And I was watching these games with my father, and like me and my father were talking about it. I was like, man, why is Gernot Rhor not trying out another goalie besides Uzohu when Uzohu was playing like I remember it was like the third friendly match, right? Uzohu was playing horribly, for like 3 games straight, and me and my father was wondering like, how come our coach is not switching him out to try out another goalie? We have other goalies on the bench who've already proven that they can play at a higher level than Uzohu. But Roy kept Uzohu without even switching him out, not one time. That cannot be done on accident, man. Gernot Rhor was purposely fucking over the Nigerian Super Eagles. Then, okay, Nigeria's last friendly match before the World Cup. Nigeria's last friendly match before the 2018 World Cup was against England, right? Nigeria lost that game like 2-1. But against England, Gernot Rhor used a 4-2-3-1 formation in the first half. England 100% dominated Nigeria with that 4-2-3-1 formation in the first half in that friendly match. Um, it was so obvious if you watched the game. England was attacking, they were pressing hard, they were dominating Nigeria in that first half of that friendly match with the Super Eagles using that 4-2-3-1 formation. And in that first half, with Nigeria using that 4-2-3-1 formation, England scored 2 goals on us, I believe, in that first half. So it was kind of obvious that maybe we should not use this 4-2-3-1 formation in the World Cup because England is dominating us with that formation and scored 2 goals on us with that formation. Okay, let's go to the second half of that same match against England. In the second half, Gernot Rhor used the 3-5-2 formation against England. With the 3-5-2 formation, Nigeria played way better. We were starting to push for offensive attacks. Ike Iwobi scored a goal, using that 3-5-2 formation. We outplayed England in the second half using that 3-5-2 formation. If you watch that friendly match, you can easily see, compare and contrast our style of play while using the 4-2-3-1 formation. We sucked. And in the second half against England, the 3-5-2 formation, we were playing like we were the best team in the world. So it was kind of obvious that we should start out the World Cup. And this is one game prior to our first game in the 2018 World Cup. That friendly match against England was our last friendly match right before the World Cup. It was literally like a week before the World Cup. And we're playing against England. And you can't tell me that friendly match, your last friendly match right before the World Cup against a big name team like England, it's not an important result. That game against England was an important result, an important game that Gernot Rhor should have paid attention to. Especially since it's England. England's supposed to be one of the best teams in the world. And Nigeria is typically considered to be underdog in football and soccer. And yeah, that was an important game for us. And guess what formation Gernot Rhor used against Croatia in our first game in the World Cup? Guess what formation Gernot Rhor used in our next game after that England friendly in the World Cup. This dude, Gernot Rhor, used a 4-2-3-1 formation against Croatia in Nigeria's first game in the 2018 World Cup. And Croatia beat us using that 4-2-3 when we used that 4-2-3-1 formation. Gernot Rhor should have never used that 4-2-3-1 formation for against Croatia, knowing how we played with that same 4-2-3-1 formation in our last friendly match a week prior against England. Nigeria played horribly with that 4-2-3-1 formation a game prior in our last friendly match against England. England scored 2 goals against us when we used that 4-2-3-1 formation in the first half. Even though we played horribly with that 4-2-3-1 formation, that's the same fucking formation that Gernot Rhor used for our next game when it was so fucking obvious that we sucked with that fucking formation. And why do teams play friendly matches? Teams play friendly matches to know what they're good at and what they're bad at. Soccer teams, football teams play friendly matches to know what formations to use, what formations not to use, what players to play and what players not to play. And it was obvious that we're not supposed to use that 4-2-3-1 formation due to the results we had against using it against England when they scored 2 goals on us using that fucking 4-2-3-1 formation in the first fucking half. You feel me? Gernot Rhor knew not to use that 4-2-3-1 formation against Croatia. You know why he used that fucking formation against Croatia? Even though we played horribly with that 4-2-3-1 formation a game prior against England, because Gernot Rhor was purposely fucking over our fucking squad. Yes, that's why. Then this other weird ass shit he was doing in the 2018 World Cup. I mean, Gernot Rhor was, man. If you have any common sense, you will know that Gernot Rhor was purposely fucking over the Nigerian Super Eagles in the 2018 World Cup. Okay. Gernot Rhor, he was benching a lot of our key players. Like, it didn't make sense for him to bench Alex Iwobi for 2 games straight. It didn't make sense. Alex Iwobi has proven game after game after game in friendly matches, in the World Cup qualifications prior to the World Cup, and friendly matches prior to the World Cup, that he is one of the key players for the Super Eagles. During that time, in 2018, Alex Iwobi was no doubt one of the best players for the Super Eagles. He was our best playmaker, and he was more of a regular goal scorer for the team, you know. Alex Iwobi, he created great scoring chances against England. You know, in that friendly match against England right before the World Cup, Alex Iwobi had a couple assists. I believe he scored a goal against England. Yeah, during those several friendly matches Nigeria had before the World Cup, before the 2018 World Cup, Alex Iwobi proved himself, you know, to be one of the best players on the Super Eagles, you know. But for some reason, Gernot Rhor decided to bench our best playmaker, one of our best players, Alex Iwobi, for 2 games straight. Gernot Rhor had no fucking reason to bench Alex Iwobi for 2 games straight in the World Cup. He had no reason to do that shit, man. There's other players who were playing horribly that he could have benched. Michael Obi was playing horribly in the World Cup. Gernot Rhor didn't bench him not one game. But man, this dude, Alex Iwobi, scored 2 goals against Argentina in a World Cup in a friendly match in late 2017. Before the World Cup, Alex Iwobi played against Argentina in a friendly match, scored 2 goals against Argentina, and scored another goal right before the World Cup against England. So Alex Iwobi dominated against 2 big-name nations prior to the World Cup, prior to the 2018 World Cup. And that's the fucking player you decide to bench, that Gernot Rhor decided to bench during the World Cup. I mean, come on, man. This dude was obviously fucking over our squad on purpose. That's why Nigeria should not fucking hire white European coaches. There are not a lot of white European coaches and white European soccer and football fans in general who will want Nigeria, the biggest black country in the world, to outplay and outshine their favorite European countries. Like, keep it real. If you know anything about international football, you will know that it's a fucking racist ass sport. Come on. Whenever African teams play in the World Cup, the officiating is always against them. That's how you know the game of football and soccer is racist. Okay, let's talk about Nigeria's last game in the 2018 World Cup. And it was against Argentina, right? Prior to the game against Argentina, this was a do or die World Cup game for Nigeria. If Nigeria would have won this game against Argentina in the 2018 World Cup, the Super Eagles would have advanced to the next round. So this was a very important game against Argentina in the 2018 World Cup. And you know what our coach Gernot Rhor did against Argentina in a do or die World Cup game? Our fucking coach Gernot Rhor decided to start an injured striker. Gernot Rhor knew Kelechi Iheanacho was injured before the game even started, and the coach still started him. Why in the hell would you start an injured striker in a World Cup game? Especially, why in the hell would you start an injured striker in a do or die World Cup game? And you already know you're the underdog of Nigeria and you're playing against a big name nation like Argentina and you're starting an injured striker when you have perfectly healthy strikers on the bench. This shit could not have been done on accident. Gernot Rhor was purposely fucking over the Nigerian Super Eagles. We had perfectly healthy strikers sitting on the bench, and our coach admitted out of his mouth, Gernot Rhor admitted out of his mouth after the match against Argentina that he knew Kelechi Iheanacho was injured before the match started, and he still decided to fucking start an injured striker in a do or die World Cup match against a big name team like Argentina. and we all know Nigeria is the underdog. Like, come on, man. Gernot Rhor was purposely fucking over our squad. And like I said earlier I mentioned that prior to the 2018 World Cup, prior to our match, prior to Nigeria's match against Argentina in the 2018 World Cup, Nigeria had a friendly match against Argentina in November of 2017. And to not a big surprise, most of the players who dominated Argentina in the 2017 friendly match, most of those Nigerian players who dominated Argentina in that 2017 friendly match magically did not show up against the do or die World Cup match against Argentina in the 2018 World Cup that decided our fate to go to the next round. These are a list of players who magically did not show up against Argentina in the 2018 World Cup, who dominated against Argentina in the 2017 friendly. And most of these players were on our team during the World Cup squad. But our coach magically decided not to play any of these players who dominated Argentina in that 2017 friendly. Alex Iwobi was benched against Argentina in the 2018 World Cup. Alex Iwobi was benched against Argentina in the 2018 World Cup. The same Alex Iwobi who scored 2 goals against Argentina in that 2017 friendly match. Alex Iwobi totally dominated Argentina in that November of 2017 friendly match. Alex Iwobi was making Argentina look like some fucking fools. He was creative. He scored 2 goals against Argentina. Then when the World Cup comes around, Gernot Rhor decides to bench Alex Iwobi against Argentina. He had no fucking reason to bench Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi was one of our best players, especially back then. So he had no business benching Alex Iwobi against Argentina. Alex Iwobi has already proven that he has the skill set to dominate that same team of Argentina because they played a friendly match against them a few months prior to the 2018 World Cup, and he scored 2 goals against them and was making them look like fools. You know why Alex Iwobi did not get any playing time against Argentina in the World Cup, despite scoring 2 goals against them a few months prior in that friendly match? Because our coach Gernot Rhor was purposely fucking over the Nigerian Super Eagles. Another player who dominated against Argentina was John Ogu. John Ogu dominated against Argentina in the 2017 friendly match. And to not a big surprise, when it was time to play Argentina again in the 2018 World Cup, our coach Gernot Rhor decided to keep John Ogu on the bench and not play him. John Ogu has already proven that he can dominate Argentina because he dominated Argentina in the 2017 friendly match a few months prior to the World Cup. But when the World Cup came around and it was time to play Argentina again a few months later, our coach Gernot Rhor decided to keep John Ogu on the bench. You know why our coach Gernot Rhor kept John Ogu on the bench against Argentina in the World Cup? It was because our coach Gernot Rhor was purposely fucking over the Nigerian Super Eagles. Another player of ours who dominated Argentina defensively in the 2017 friendly match we had against them was Chidozie Awazian. Chidozie Awazian was still on our squad in the 2018 World Cup, and he dominated Argentina in the 2017 friendly match a few months prior to the World Cup. But yup, again, our coach decided to keep Chidozie Awazian on the bench when we played Argentina again in the 2018 World Cup. You don't want to know why Chidozie Awazian was benched against Argentina in the 2018 World Cup? Yup, you got it right. It's because Gernot Rhor was purposely fucking over the Nigerian Super Eagles. Tyrone Ubuehi. He played against Argentina in the 2017 friendly match. Tyrone Ubuehi, he had a standout game and dominated Argentina as well. Tyrone Ubuehi, he was great defensively against Argentina in that 2017 friendly, and Tyrone Ubuehi, he provided a lot in offensive attack against Argentina in the 2017 friendly. And Tyrone Ubuehi, he was still on our roster in the 2018 World Cup. But how come Tyrone Ubuehi was not played against Argentina in the 2018 World Cup, even though he has already proven he dominated them in a friendly match a few months prior to the World Cup? The reason Tyrone Ubuehi was benched against Argentina in the World Cup, even though he played fantastically against Argentina a few months prior, was because our coach Gernot Rhor was purposely fucking over the Nigerian Super Eagles. Come on. The Nigerian players who dominated Argentina the most in that friendly match, that November 2017 friendly match against Argentina, the Nigerian players who dominated Argentina the most that game, for some reason, none of those players showed up against Argentina a few months later in the 2018 World Cup. I'm talking about Gernot Rhor didn't play any of the players who dominated Argentina in the 2017 friendly match in the friendly match. I mean, in the World Cup match we had against Argentina. None of those players who dominated Argentina in the 2017 friendly match showed up against Argentina in the 2018 World Cup. That's not no fucking coincidence. It's because Gernot Rhor was purposely fucking over our squad. Okay. We're already on the topic, of the Super Eagles playing Argentina in the World Cup. If the Super Eagles would have beat Argentina in the 2018 World Cup, we would have advanced to the next round, and we would have played. If we would have beat Argentina in the 2018 World Cup, we would have advanced to the next round, and we would have faced off against France. France. Why was Gernot Rhor purposely benching all of our best players against Argentina? It seems to me that Gernot Rhor, he did not want Nigeria to advance to the next round. Why didn't Gernot Rhor want the Nigerian Super Eagles to advance to the next round? If Nigeria would have beat Argentina in the 2018 World Cup, we would have played France. And wow, to a not huge surprise, Gernot Rhor is from France. Wow. Gernot Rhor is from France. He has French citizenship. He played soccer. Gernot Rhor played soccer in France for several years. Gernot Rhor actually moved to France in 1977 and played for Bordeaux for several years. And he actually was also coach for Bordeaux for a few years. So our coach Gernot Rhor played for France for several years. Our coach Gernot Rhor played in the French league for several years, and he coached in the French league for several years. So Gernot Rhor has a strong emotional connection to France. Gernot Rhor definitely has an emotional alliance to France. Hold up, it goes even deeper than this. Between 1990 and 1992, Gernot Rhor was the head coach for the French League Bordeaux team. Let me repeat that. Between 1990 and 1992, Gernot Rhor was the head coach for the French League Bordeaux team. And during those same 2 seasons that Gernot Rhor was coach for the Bordeaux team, the coach of the French national team was playing under him at Bordeaux. So Gernot Rhor was the former coach of the head coach of the French national squad. The head coach for the French national squad. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. His name is Didier Claude Deschamps. That was the coach for France in the 2018 World Cup. Didier Claude Deschamps. And the coach for France in the 2018 World Cup, Didier Claude Deschamps, played under Gernot Rhor at Bordeaux. So Gernot Rhor was the coach for Didier Claude Deschamps. So Gernot Rhor had a direct connection with the coach of France. So maybe Gernot Rhor was in cahoots with the French team to purposely rob Nigeria, just so Nigeria won't be able to beat Argentina and face off against France and beat France. You have to think with common sense, right? You have to think with common sense. Nigeria is an underdog team in international soccer. Most people don't expect Nigeria to beat a team like Argentina, in the World Cup. If Nigeria would have beat Argentina in the World Cup as an underdog team, that would have gave Nigeria the utmost confidence going into playing a match against France. So let's say Nigeria would have beat Argentina. Nigeria would have had a whole lot of confidence going into the match against France. So Nigeria will be going against France as a confident team, and once you're playing with confidence, man, confidence is the ultimate booster, especially in football and soccer. If you play with confidence, man, you could beat anyone. You feel me? And France is already an African team. You know, most of France's players are Black Africans, you know, and France, since most of their players are Black Africans, France kinda plays like an African team. They're not the most organized, and they play kind of gritty, you know. So Nigeria, um, Nigeria is used to playing the style of play that France plays. You know, France is an African team basically who plays African style, and Nigeria also plays African style. Nigeria is used to the African style of play, and potentially could have had an easy time against France and could have potentially beat France in the 2018 World Cup. And Gernot Rhor most likely did not want Nigeria to beat France in the 2018 World Cup. That's one of the reasons why he was blatantly robbing Nigeria. Gernot Rhor has so many connections to France. He played soccer with France. He played soccer in the French league several years as a player. He coached in the French league several years as a player. You know, he was the coach for Didier Claude Deschamps. You know, the 2018 French national coach. You know, Gernot. Gernot Roy. He lived in France for several years. He has French citizenship. Gernot Roy is a Frenchman. No Frenchman would want Nigeria, the biggest black country in the world, to beat his home nation of France in the World Cup. And it's true. And this is why Nigeria and African nations in general should not hire white foreign coaches. Okay. And that's why I'm glad the Super Eagles fired Gernot Rhor.